Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Foster Files. My name is Kelly, and I am a foster with Cross Your Paws Rescue in the Pittsburgh area of Pennsylvania. And I have a guest with me today that I admit is a little bit of a rescue celebrity in my world, in our rescue world. So she's laughing because she probably doesn't see herself in that same role. But if you are in the state of Pennsylvania and you have been paying attention to animal welfare and animal rescue for the last 7 to 10 years, you have probably heard about a law in Pennsylvania that was passed called Libre's Law. And Libre's Law and the legislation behind it and the real push behind it was spearheaded by this woman. So I have with me the incredible Janine from Speranza Animal Rescue, and we're going to talk to her today about her journey with Speranza, which I am so excited to learn all about. And we're going to talk to her about Libre, and we're going to talk to her about Libre's Law and how she spearheaded that incredible change. So Janine, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited. Nervous, but excited.
Don't be nervous. You're going to do great. It's going to all be awesome. So, but
Okay.
well, tell me about yourself. Tell me about the animals that you have in your household now. And yeah, just start there.
I'm Janine. Obviously, I'm the founder of Speranza Animal Rescue. Did you say in my household?
Yeah. Who do you have? I see a little okay behind you now. So who's with you now?
Yeah, okay. That's Chip. He's one of the 14 we have at our house.
Oh my
We're a little, yeah. A lot are fosters, but they're forever fosters due to behavioral issues. Yeah, I think we have probably like 10 pit bull mixes, one derpy bloodhound, and then like two mutts. I think that adds up to 14. Yeah, so they come here, and my boyfriend, he primarily takes care of the dogs at the house because I'm always at the rescue. Like I'm there like up to 12, 13, 14 hours a day. So the dogs at home are pretty much my boyfriends. I like consider them, like if I tell them not to do something, they look at me and they're like, I don't think so. You're not my mother. Like, okay, daddy. But so it's just kind of like a running joke around here. They literally do not respect me at all. But at the rescue, I'm the mother there. So our home is very interesting. I literally come home from the rescue to like a smaller rescue, kind of, because all the barking and stuff, but it works. Yeah, it's a crazy life, but that's rescue for you, I guess.
Yeah, it really can be. It really can be crazy. So tell us about Speranza. How did you get your start in animal rescue? How long ago did you start Speranza? And how did that come about for you?
Yes. So I started Speranza 13 years ago, and it's kind of like a long story. And I'm going to throw in a plug real quick. I wrote a book about it, and the book's coming out September 23rd on Amazon. So it kind of goes deep in detail how Speranza started. I started it to deal with some of my own personal struggles with mental health, and it goes hand in hand, and how the story of Speranza came about, and it's like a therapy to me, and the animals are my therapy, and it's a long story.
I will link the
Yeah.
order for the book in the show notes, and I will also share it on the Instagram page. So anyone who is interested in hearing the story about Speranza will have the opportunity to buy the book. So that's incredible. So 13 years in animal rescue
Perfect.
and 13 years with Speranza. So tell me about Speranza, because I know that you have other animals on the property besides dogs, right? You have farm animals too, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Oh yeah. We have, I think, around 70 or 80 farm animals on site right now. And then we have 50 dogs on property, and then like which anywhere between 70 and 80 in foster homes. So we grew from like a very, very small, like one woman show at the very beginning with like 7 dogs to over 120 some dogs and like 70 to 80 farm animals. We're really, really lucky to be able to do that because we have the property and the facility to be able to, house all these animals. But we have, cows, we have pigs, donkeys, goats, sheep, birds. We have a camel, saved 2 zebras from going to a trophy hunting ranch 5 years ago. we have everything that we can legally own. We pretty much have it. Um, so yeah, it keeps life interesting. We have a lot of different species there, but I will say over the years, the weirdest creature I've ever met would be my camel. His name's Sir Camelot, and we got him as a baby, and we bottle raised him, and he became very attached to me as well as other volunteers. He's like my child, my 1,200 pound toddler. He makes these noises, and we have like these conversations. Like he like kind of like comes, and I'm like, oh, to Camelot, and he'll like go like, and he like moans at me, and I don't know, it's weird. And like sometimes if I'm mowing or just like walking around the property, I look over my shoulder and he's just standing there staring at me. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so weird. He's such a creep, but I love him.
Following his story since you got him. Like I said, I mean, I've been watching your rescue for years since I lived in Eastern Pennsylvania. I'm from the Susquehanna Valley, and my
Oh, okay.
still lives out there. Yeah, so that's how I got to, hear about you. My stepmom's best friend goes to your big formal event you have every year.
Oh yeah, our gala.
Fundraising. Yeah, your gala.
Nice.
Sorry, your gala. So yeah, we've been supporting you guys for years. So when I said that you're a celebrity for me, I wasn't kidding. I really have been following you for years. So I'm curious now. I assume, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I assume that there are animals such as a camel, such as a zebra, that you're not adopting out. These are animals that you bring in and then you're going to keep them on property until the end of their life. Is that correct?
Yeah, they are a part of the sanctuary and mainly for safety reasons. Camelot's very friendly, but he's huge. And, when you go in his pasture, he thinks it can be a game and like he's ginormous. And like sometimes he thinks jumping on you is fun. And it's like, it's not, it can be very scary. So, he just has to learn manners. And like the zebras, I'm guilty. I knew nothing about them when we saved them, and I cannot believe that they are legal to own, and they really should not be. They are nothing like horses. Can be very dangerous. I do not recommend getting them as pets. They are a part of our sanctuary, and we treat them as wild animals. We don't treat them like horses because I've heard horror stories. Yeah, a lot of people, and I see like a lot of local auctions, like even in Lebanon, they'll have zebras come up here and be offered to the public through auction. And I'm like, somebody's going to get killed one of these days. But in PA, you don't have to have an exotic license to own zebras or camels. So that's how we were allowed to get them. And I'm glad we did. But going back, like, yeah, I had so many people message me and they're like, they'll kill you. Like, they are nothing like horses. You need to treat them like they're feral because that's what they are. And you can never truly domesticate them. So it's been a learning experience, to say the least.
Wow. I would say so. I mean, I think I would have naively gone into it the way that you did, like, oh, these are just a different type of horse. But I guess the horses that we deal with have been domesticated over, well, thousands of years. They've been working with people. So it's a completely different situation.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I'm very lucky because Chrissy and Janet, the two zebras, they have been very good. But again, I won't enter their pasture. Only me and one other volunteer will enter their field. And we always go in like on a four-wheel, like a gate or like a ATV or whatever. We don't just walk in there with no way to get out quickly, just in case they would turn on us. But over the fence, they're super sweet. Like we feed them treats, stuff like that. But we never turn our back on them, and we're very smart about it.
Wow. How do you manage the sanctuary portion of the rescue? Because I imagine that there's no end to how many animals you get notified about that need rescue. So how do you manage that?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, we get emails and phone calls and Facebook messages daily, obviously. I mean, hundreds of pleas a week to take dogs or farm animals. And just like any other rescue, we do what we can. We're a no kill, so we don't kill for space. So, sadly, when we're out of room, we're out of room. And that's the hardest part, is realizing you can't save them all. You don't have room for every animal and every flea that you get. And that's the hard reality of rescue, I think.
I think every rescue that's ever been in existence faces that really hard reality.
Yeah.
So yeah, managing that is really difficult. How many staff members do you have and how many volunteers do you have now between the sanctuary and the rescue?
So we actually are still all volunteer. Nobody gets
Wow.
paid. Yeah, yeah, it's incredible. We have the absolute best village behind us. We have over 100 volunteers. I don't get paid either. My boyfriend, I'm very blessed. My boyfriend and my parents take care of my personal bills and like my spending and stuff. So when the rescue started, the only like deal you could say with my dad was that Speranza had to self fund, like fund itself. Like that's the way he would let us run the rescue out of his horse farm. So yeah, so we're no staff members, all volunteers. We're really lucky to have people that want to help out. But we have 3 shifts a day for dogs. They get out 3 times a day, every single day, even on holidays. And then farm crew shift is twice a day. And it takes about like 12 people, like a really good day at Speranza. It would take 6 people for each dog shift. So that's 18 people there. And then
Mhm.
farm
Yeah.
crew, ideally, it's 2 to 3 people twice a day. But then we have like a cleaning crew too, which they'd like wash the dishes and do the laundry. And then we have a poop scooping crew who literally just walk around and pick up poop from the dogs and clean out the pastures. And yeah, these people are amazing. They're absolutely amazing. They're so selfless and just wonderful.
Wow, you really have built an incredible community. So I want to talk a little bit about really the animal welfare side of things because what you did when Libre's story began and then how that came to fruition in Pennsylvania is such an incredible story. So I'd love to hear Libre's story for those of us that don't know it and how you made Libre's Law happen.
So Libre, I guess it was 2016, July 4th. Me and my boyfriend and a friend were out eating dinner, and Officer Nields had, or now Lieutenant Nields, she had messaged me a picture of a puppy laying in a pen, like a dirt pen, and she said, "Can you take this?" And I was like, "So what is it? Like, is it alive?" For one, he didn't look alive. He looked like a dead stuffed animal. And she's like, "Yeah, but barely." She said, "My friend that is a produce driver got him from an Amish man in Lancaster." And I said, "Okay, get him in Lancaster ER vet and I'll get there as soon as I can." So we drove like an hour to get there. And when I got there, Jen was like, he's in really bad shape. And I went in the room and they had him covered in blankets. And I mean, I didn't even see him. I just smelled him. Like you could just smell that infection. It was awful. He was like ice cold. He was in and out of consciousness. They wouldn't even let me pet him just because of how bad his skin was and the infection. Like it was just oozing pus everywhere. He had maggots in his skin folds. I remember I was talking to Courtney, my friend that was in the car with me on the way there. And I was like, well, I need to name him because in case he doesn't make it, I always get my animals cremated, just spread their ashes at the farm. I wanted a name to put on the box of ashes. So I named him Lee right before I even saw him. And that kind of stuck. And the vet said to me, the woman, she's like, he needs put down. He needs put out of his misery. And I'm very bullheaded, but I also won't make an animal suffer. But something inside of me was like, this dog, like, if he wasn't meant to live, he would have died weeks ago. You know what I mean? So there was something in me. It was just like, no, we're going to fight for him. So I left him there that night and drove home and posted a video of him on Facebook. And when I woke up the next day, it had like over 1 million views. And I was like, what the hell? Like, it was just incredible. And our Facebook, our followers went from 60,000 to over 100,000 overnight. And I was like, whoa, like, what is happening? And it was just crazy. So, and then I called the vet. I had no voicemails from the vet. And I was like, okay, that's weird. Because I fully expected him not to make the night, but you just never know. So I called them and she's like, no, he made it. You need to come get him and get him to your local vet. So I drove there and picked Libre up, wrapped him in blankets and a heating pad and drove him to Dr. Pryor at Gillsburg vet. And that's kind of where things took off. You know, I just documented like his journey, and then people just kind of fell in love with this crusty little boy. It's almost like a movie how like everything came about and just everything was meant to happen the way it did. And like the reason he suffered what was because he was meant to help others. And that sounds bad, but I never doubted keeping him alive until day 5. And that's when, like, I just remember sitting there at the vet's office in between news interviews. And I was like, just take away all the media, all the donations, just take everything away. I don't care. I just want this dog to survive. But he wasn't doing well at all on day 5. And Dr. Pryor and I spoke. And sorry, I was getting emotional when I talk about Lily.
No, it's okay. It's understandable.
Yeah. So, yeah, long story short, day 5, you know, he's like, we'll give it 12 hours, but we really need to consider euthanasia because he's not progressing. 12 hours later, I got the text message from Dr. Pryor's wife, Sharon, and it was a video of Lily standing up, shaky, but standing up, and he was actually eating on his own. And I was like, well, shit. You know, and from there on, he just started to get better and better with each day. And it was just amazing. But then, like I said, people have been following his story. And when it was said that the SPCA wouldn't be pressing charges against his owner, that's when people got pissed off. And that's when the rallying started. And like, that's kind of leads into how Libre's Law kind of came about and all the legislation and stuff like that, because people were furious and it caught like attention of Senator Alloway. He actually is the one that approached us about Libre's Law. He had asked if he could go meet Lily at the vet. Of course, I was like, sure, yeah. And Kristen Tulo from the Humane Society of the United States got involved, and she was wonderful to work with. And then Ryan Bizzaro, and it just all came together. Like, and honest to God, I didn't do much. Everybody's like, you know, you're this driving force behind Libre's Law. I was like, no, like I didn't. They did the work, man. Like I just showed up at the Capitol with this dog, and my focus was on Libre and just to keep him fighting and to love him and just, you know, to keep him going. And everybody else, they deserve the credit, you know. But it was just something so amazing to be a part of. And in 2016, when it was first introduced, Libre's Law, it was not even brought to the floor for a count to be voted on, which was hard, you know. But the following year, 2017, it was brought to the floor and it passed unanimously. And that summer, I was sitting next to Governor Wolf and all these other like representatives or legislators or important people. And I'm like, oh my God. And they're signing this law and like made history. And I was like, what is happening? And Libre was like on my lap and he stamped like the law, like the paper with his hand or with his paw. It was just incredible. It was so cool. It was so much heartbreak, but so much like happiness and like all the feels, all the emotions. Just an incredible story.
I mean, that story is just both heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time, which is just, I think that's the story of rescue right there, right? Heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time. So tell me the details of Libre's Law. Tell me what that really encapsulates, because I do think that there are a lot of people that don't necessarily know that they can call a humane officer and say, hey, I think this is being violated. So tell me about that.
Yeah, sure. And not just humane officers, even your local police department, they have the authority to do stuff. So it doesn't have to just be a humane officer, but the law, you know, it improves outdoor tethering conditions for dogs. It also increases penalties now where like charges can be filed as felonies. A lot of more harsher punishments, expands protection to horses and other animals as well, which it didn't before. Example, like for the tethering, they can only be tethered for 30 minutes at a time with proper shelter, food, and water. What do you know about Libre's law?
So what I know about Libre's law, and it's not exceptionally detailed. So, because to be fair, I was relying on you, but my understanding was always that there was if you had a dog outside, that dog had to have access to food, water, and shelter that was going to be more temperature controlled, and there was something specifically in there regarding heat, like it couldn't be above a certain temperature.
Over 90
You could
degrees.
face felony. Okay.
Yeah, over 90 degrees or below 32 degrees. I know
There
that.
I go. Okay. And then you could face felony charges. And so I do believe I understood that it increased the penalties as well, because for a lot of animal cases, you're looking at misdemeanors, which is part of some of the outrage that's coming, is that these penalties are not harsh enough for people.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that it's crazy to me for you to say that you didn't do the work, because you did two incredibly important things that had you not done them, this law wouldn't have happened. And the first is you kept Libre alive, and you worked with a vet team, obviously, to do that. And our vets are heroes for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But you also used your platform to tell the story. And I think that there's so much that social media is used for in a negative way, but being an advocate for animals is such a positive thing. And you could have just put your phone down and you could have said, hey, my focus is on keeping this dog alive, and I can not worry about it until later. But had you not used your voice to advocate for Libre the way that you did, that law never would have happened, Janine.
Oh, well, thank you. That makes me feel a little better, because I always feel bad when people are like, oh, yeah, she's like the voice behind the law and she did all this work. And I'm like, I just like showed up like with the dog and like, I just did what I was told to do. But thank you for making me feel like I did a little bit more.
I can't imagine there's a single volunteer that if they came to you and said, oh, I just showed up, I didn't do anything, that you would like, oh, no, trust me, showing up is important.
That's true.
Right. Think about it that way.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things you probably hear all the time, I know I hear it, and hell, I know I've said it, is if I win the Powerball, I'm going to start an animal rescue.
Yeah.
Right? You're living out so many people's Powerball dream. But to be fair, you did not win the Powerball, and you started an animal rescue. So if there is somebody out there who's listening that wants to get started, what are some steps that you would encourage them to take to follow that passion?
Probably do what I didn't, and that would be volunteer somewhere. Volunteer for at least a year. I went into this blindly, and it's hard. As you know, you do rescue. There's more bad days than good. It's emotionally draining. Physically, because we have an actual facility. A lot of rescues are foster based. So, if you want to start like a rescue, obviously you have to know, is yours going to be foster based, or are you going to have like an actual facility? But if you have an actual facility, it's hard work. And like how big you're going to be. Like I started small. It was literally me and 7 dogs, and I could do it myself every day. I went to work and I financially supported the rescue when it was small, but with my paychecks. And now I don't work anymore, so we rely on donations. That's solely how we get our money, and through social media and grants and stuff. So, but just definitely volunteer. And it's very, very hard. It's time, not even time consuming. It consumes your life, and if you're the founder, at the end of the day, everything relies on your shoulders, I guess you could say. So be prepared to take that responsibility. And there's going to be days when you want to throw in the towel. And it's a really hard feeling to have, that like of defeat. You're going to have a lot of days when you feel defeated, but then you're going to have a lot of days that come and it makes the defeat go away because you have like a success story with a dog or an animal. I don't know. It's just, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's not all puppy dog kisses and, go to events, and it's work. It is hard work. I would not change it for the world, but there are days that I doubt myself and I doubt the rescue and why I'm in it. When I started it, I was like, oh, we're all going to get along. There's so much drama in rescue. I could not even begin to tell you. And it breaks my heart because it takes away from the sole purpose, which is to save the animals. But I never realized how mean people can be. Other rescues bashing us and bashing me personally. And it's awful. Like, I don't want to see it. I know it's on Facebook, but I just tell people, like, I'm not strong enough to see that stuff. I don't want to see it. Now I'm rambling and I honestly forget what you even asked me.
All right, trust me. And I told you it was going to be okay if it did. And I'm serious about that because I think one of the things that I want to get across is that, yes, it's hard and yes, a lot of work, but yes, there's so much reward in it. And I want to go back to the very first thing that you said, Janine.
Yeah.
The very first thing that you said was that you started this to help with your mental health. There are moments where it probably doesn't help with your mental health, like picking up a maggot-filled puppy from an emergency vet. So how do you manage it? How do you balance that for yourself? How do you then get out of bed the next day and keep fighting?
I mean, I think you don't learn to like look at the positive in it, but you do. But you just, like, even if Libre wouldn't, so if I get a dog like Libre, for instance, and I try to find the good in it, if we would have lost him, I think just the fact knowing that he did not die on that cold dirt floor, and he would have died surrounded by me in my arms and by somebody that loved him, even though a short time, to me, that would make him one of the lucky ones. I don't know if that makes sense in any way, shape, or form. Okay. Okay. So, like, being able to give a dog to end his suffering, or, even though it didn't end as planned and it wasn't a happy moment per se, at least we were able to end their suffering. To me, that's a win, I guess you could say. And just seeing it in the eyes of the ones that do get the happy stories at the end, they get their happy family. That's what keeps you going every day. Hard though. I mean, there's so many nights I cry myself to sleep still, thinking about the ones that we couldn't save, because it's like you have to go euthanize a dog because it has cancer. And for instance, we have a dog at the rescue, Oscar, that we had to euthanize, and he was a part of the sanctuary for 12 years. Right after I was with him at the vet, it's like I have to get my shit back together and go back to the rescue and back to work, and that's hard, trying to like be emotionally detach yourself from it because you have to be strong for the other ones. But yeah, there's nights that I still cry myself to sleep because that's when I can really like chill and mourn and take time for me. But yeah. I don't know.
You're a warrior.
Oh.
You are. You're an absolute warrior. I mean, the strength that you find in days that can be so bleak is absolutely incredible. It's just,
Thank you.
it's really inspiring. It really is.
Well,
So, what is one thing that you'd like to leave people with when it comes to Speranza or, Libre's Law, or animal welfare or rescue in general? What's one thing that, if it was the last thing you ever said about animal rescue, what would that be?
oh crap.
Sorry.
Oh, this is a tough one. You go first.
Me?
Yeah, I want to know.
If I could leave everybody I talk to with one thing, spay and neuter your freaking pets. That is the one thing for me that it does not matter the context in which I'm having a conversation. If I could leave people with one thing, it's get your animals fixed, because the problem is so big and people, I'm sure this happens to you. And I'm really grateful that you asked me, because I'm sure this happens to you too. And I'd love to hear how you handle it. But now that I'm in foster and people that know that I've been in foster for almost 2 years, people come to me and they're like, well, my dog had puppies and we can't get rid of all of them. Can you help me? And that just infuriates me in a way that's really hard to describe. And I've had to say to people, people that aren't necessarily close friends, but that are acquaintances and friends in different capacities. I've had to look at them straight in the eye and say, the resources that I have available to me are not meant to fix the problem you created.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you get the same thing. There's no way you can't. I mean, you can't, you
Right.
have to. How do you handle that?
Yeah. I mean, and what's sad is that people can't even give puppies away right now. Like we literally had somebody contact us 2 days ago and we took in, I think, 5 puppies that are 15 weeks old. She was trying to give them away for free. She couldn't even find homes. Like there's more dogs or cats or whatever than there is homes right now. Like, so yeah, spay and neuter your freaking pets.
The Bob Barker mantra. Man, that dude did it right for like 100 years. Sydney. No, it's infuriating. It really is infuriating.
Yeah. And I don't think people that aren't in rescue, I truly think they're kind of blind to it. They don't understand how bad
For sure.
the problem is. Yeah. Which is sad, but yeah.
Yeah. Ignorance is not bliss. It's bliss out for them, but it's not blissful for the animals that they bring in. It's, yeah. So what's yours? I went.
Oh,
Would you mind? What's yours?
yeah. So I think mine would be, it sounds silly, but I would say be kind, because compassion fatigue is 100% real. Rescues we're tired, and we try our very best to help the community and people by, quote unquote, like you said, cleaning up their messes. And when we can't take your pet, please don't blame us. We feel bad enough that we can't help, but there's only so much we can do, if that makes sense.
That's a beautiful one. That's a beautiful one. Be kind to those in rescue.
Yeah.
Be kind. And be kind to your vets. Your vet's not responsible for the prices and how much it costs for animal care. They're not just trying to upcharge you. They're trying to do the work to save your animal's life or better your animal's life. Be kind to all of us. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. At the end of every episode, I do a spotlight on an animal that needs adopted, the foster spotlight. So, do you have an animal in mind that you would like to talk about today?
I want to talk about Stimpy. So Stimpy is a 2 to 3 year old pit bull mix, and he's got the goofiest little like sidewards grin, like the smirk. He's just a goofy looking dog. Very, very cute, very strong. He's about 80 pounds of pure muscle. He's very active. He likes to walk. He just came back from training, so he's very smart, very educated. He knows how to sit, and he walks well on a leash, and he gives his paw, and he lays down. He loves car rides. He's great with dogs, but no cats for him. Kitties, no small kids, but older kids would be fine. Stimpy sadly has a traumatic past, which most do, but so he ended up at a local ER vet after he was stabbed and in a domestic dispute. The man started to stab Stimpy or was doing something, yelling at the girlfriend or attacking the girlfriend. I forget. Stimpy got in the way. Stimpy defended the girlfriend, and so Stimpy got stabbed multiple times. He almost lost his life. He did lose hearing in one ear, but he obviously survived with surgery. And he is like no issues with men after his traumatic past for situation. Like he loves people. He's going to start going to events, and we've posted him a lot, and we just nobody's interested in him. And I don't know why, because he's really freaking cute. He's got like the goofiest ears and he's adorable, but nobody's interested in Stimpy. And his name's awesome. Like, who doesn't want a dog named Stimpy?
No, and if you have a cat, not a cat, obviously, I misspoke, but if you have a dog named Ren or you're a person named Ren,
Yeah.
Stimpy's
Meant to be. Yeah, exactly. So we would love if Stimpy got a home.
Is he at the property or is he in a foster home right now?
No, he's at the rescue. He's at this rescue, and he's a little kennel stressed, which makes it sadder. So, like, some of the dogs there do great at the kennel. They just sleep and lounge around. They're like, we're cool. But Stimpy's a little stressed out, so he's in the quiet area, which is an area with only 2 other dogs because the barking stresses him out at the rescue. And so he's doing a little better there, but still, he wants his own home. So I would love that. If Stimpy got a home before the end of the year, that would be amazing. And even to foster, if somebody wanted to foster Stimpy, we're open to that too.
Incredible. That's incredible. So how
That's
can
cool.
people find Speranza? How can people support you and all the incredible work that you do?
You can go, thank you. You can go to our website, speranzarescue.org, or on Facebook, Speranza Animal Rescue. There's ways to donate. You could do like fundraisers for us or donation drives. We also have our gala coming up November 8th, and there's ways to buy tickets on our Facebook page. That'll be announced soon. So that's
I will link the Facebook page.
Thank you.
And then what is the name of your book?
This is my book. It's called Rescued by Hope. And it's the glorious Speranza Animal Rescue. And that's my soul dog. Oh, wait, can you see it? I don't know where to point it. Can you see it?
No.
Okay, that's Hugo. He passed away like 4 or 5 years ago, but he was my soul dog. And then Sir Camelot and his brother Benjamin made it on the back.
That's amazing. Oh, incredible.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Wow.
So I'm nervous, but hopefully it goes over well, but we'll see. But yeah.
It's always a little nerve-wracking to put your whole self out there and see how people respond. So I think, so again, warrior behavior. Just so you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I have had just such an amazing time. I'm so happy to have finally met you. Like I said, I've been following your work for years, even before I became involved directly in rescue myself. And you're such a beacon of hope for these animals and for the people who want to rescue, and just keep up the incredible work that you're doing. And I hope that if I reach out again, you'll want to come on again and talk some more about it.
Yeah.
If I actually had a incredible, a bigger audience, and maybe one day I will. And
Well, when it's available, let me know, and I'll share it on the Speranza page too. Hopefully that gets you more followers, or however it is, whatever it's called.
Absolutely will. Yeah, I absolutely will. And thank you again so much for your time, and get it back healed up, and keep doing the work that you're doing. And I will share all of Stimpy's information and your book link.
Okay, good.
And you have a great night. Thank you so much. Thank you all for listening and for paying some attention to these incredible stories we have. So I wanted to add an aside to the next few episodes here in September of 2025, because on today, which is September 15th of 2025, I became aware of a situation in Montana I think is worth talking about. So I'm going to put it to the end of the next few episodes here to bring some light. The Yellowstone Valley Animal Shelter in Billings, Montana, on September 10th, had to be completely evacuated of all people and all animals. It turns out that the crematorium that is utilized to euthanize animals, not just by the rescue, but by veterinary clinics in the area, is sometimes rented out by government officials to dispose of evidence via incineration. And on September 10th, smoke filled the rescue, The rescue was promptly evacuated. Fortunately, no people and no animals were harmed in this situation. But it turns out that the evidence that was being burned was methamphetamine. So everything in the rescue is likely going to have to be destroyed. In addition, even 36 hours after this incident, the rescue was still unable to be occupied. So now we have displaced animals, displaced volunteers, and ultimately chaos. And what you've probably learned over the course of listening to this podcast is that these rescues need every bit of help they can possibly get. So I encourage you that if you want to help this rescue, they are struggling right now. If you read the statement on their website, Yellowstone Valley Animal Shelter, their director talks about what they need right now, and what they need right now more than anything is donations. Monetary donations, supplies can be sent to them, because ultimately everything that had to be thrown out needs to be replaced. And it's not like these rescues have reserves of cash to be able to just replace all of these items. My husband brought up a really good point. He said, wouldn't that potentially be an insurance claim? And he very well could be correct. It really just depends on the type of policy they have and whether or not there's any exclusions for government action, which there could be. I actually do know a lot about that, so there very well could be. But either way, even if they do end up getting an insurance payout, there's going to be a deductible involved. There could be time associated with that. And then, of course, they will likely see their premiums increase as a result. So say what you want about insurance, there's probably going to still be some financial consequences for this rescue, even if they are able to file a claim. So let's not necessarily get into the nitty gritty of who should do what. Let's focus on what we can do to help. And I joke around a lot that this podcast has like 30 consistent followers. If every one of those 30 consistent followers just sent over $5 via Venmo or on their website, that's $150 that they didn't have before. So I encourage you, again, go to the website. They have a statement about exactly what happened. Please don't trust any social media articles that you see that are from unverified sources. Their website is www.yvas.org. You can also send them money directly via Venmo at YVAS_MT. Please be careful who you're sending the money to. I went to do it tonight, and there was a second duplicate account with a second underscore. So make sure that you're sending it to the correct Yellowstone Valley Animal Shelter Venmo. And of course, I'm sure if you subscribe to Amazon or a place like Chewy, they may have wish lists up on there if you would prefer to donate supplies. So thank you for your attention. Thank you for listening. And thank you for any generosity that you can share with the shelter in need.